skid steer, is fitted with Cummins B3.3 engine, which gives it toughness and reliability. Cummins B3.3 is a diesel engine, delivers up to 85 horsepower, with 215 pounds-per-foot of torque and has the best fuel economy in its class. The engine drives the shaft of the hydrostatic pump, which then powers the different functions of the skid steer. Diesel engine in skid steer has the following main parts or assemblies: oil filter, dipstick, exhaust manifold, air filter, water pump, alternator, crankshaft pulley, fan belt, belt tensioner, fuel filter, fuel pump, starter solenoid, oil pan, oil drain plug, fuel pump cover, fuel injectors, turbocharger. Diesel engine is an internal combustion engine designed to convert the chemical energy available in fuel into mechanical energy. The conversion of fuel into energy happens through a series of small explosions or combustion. The air is first compressed, and then the fuel is directly injected into the combustion chamber. It is the heat of the compressed air that ignites the fuel, pushing the pistons back. This mechanical energy moves pistons up and down inside cylinders. The pistons are connected to a crankshaft, and the up and down motion of the pistons, known as linear motion, creates the rotary motion needed to turn the shaft of the hydrostatic pump. The moving parts inside the engine need constant cooling and lubrication to prevent any damage due to friction and overheating. To take the heat out from the engine, water or coolant is made to continually flow in the specified sections of the engine with the help of water pump. The pump pulls coolant from the radiator and sends it to the engine. The coolant, after lowering the heat of the engine, goes back to the radiator for cooling. The moving parts inside the engine are constantly lubricated with the oil to prevent friction and wearing out of the parts. The lubrication system in the engine consists of an oil pan, oil pump, and oil galleries. The oil is stored in the oil pan, located at the bottom of the engine block. Oil is drawn from the pan by an oil pump. It is instantly pumped towards the moving parts when the engine starts. Oil galleries are small passages in the engine block that direct oil to the moving parts. Oil that is being pumped to the crankshaft main bearing travels through oil vase to the connecting rods. Oil also gets splashed onto the piston walls. A filter is usually provided to remove particles of dirt from the oil. The circulation of the oil in this manner also helps in the cooling of the internal parts. The engine uses a 4-stroke combustion cycle. Intake stroke: the intake valve opens up, letting in air, and moving the piston down. Compression stroke: the piston moves back up, and compresses the air. Combustion stroke: as the piston reaches the top, fuel is injected at just the right moment, and ignited, forcing the piston back down. Exhaust stroke: the piston moves back to the top, pushing out the exhaust created from the combustion out through the exhaust valve. The injector on a diesel engine is the most vital and complex part. It has to be able to withstand the temperature and pressure inside the cylinder and still deliver the fuel in a fine mist. The engine is also equipped with a glow plug for cold start purpose. When the engine is cold, the compression process may not raise the air to a high enough temperature to ignite the fuel. The glow plug is an electrically heated wire that heats the combustion chambers and raises the air temperature so that the engine can start easily. The engine in skid steer is fitted with a turbocharger. Turbocharger is used to increase performance and efficiency of the vehicle. Turbocharger is comprised of two separate disc-shaped housings that sit, bolted, side by side. Each housing contains a ceramic fan, fitted around a central spindle that connect to one another, thus if one fan blade spins, so does the other. One of the housings is called the turbine section, while the other is called the compressor section. The turbocharger is bolted to the housing of the engine's exhaust manifold. Instead of the exhaust, leading directly from the engine cylinders to the exhaust pipe, the turbine section sits between them. Likewise, the compressor section sits between the air filter and the intake manifold of the engine. When the engine starts, air passes through the compressor section into the cylinders to fire the injected fuel. Once the cylinders start to fire, the exhaust they produce is forced out through the turbine section of the turbocharger. This causes the fan within the turbine section to turn, which makes the fan in the compressor section to also turn. As the fan in the compressor section turns faster, it forces more air into the cylinders for each successive round of firings, which generates more exhaust, and only makes the turbine turn faster. In this way, by forcing as much air into the cylinders as they can hold, each round of firings generates a greater combustion, and hence more power is produced by the engine. This concludes training module on the working mechanism of engine and skid steer.